I'm trying now to use my, I guess, love and talent for wanting to be in front of a camera to help other people understand that it's okay to dress up, it's okay to wear makeup, it's okay to put some lingerie on. Because if I can work through all the shit and all of the projections, then you definitely can.
Welcome to Girl Talk with Jenny Raven. Episode 12, Meet Saurora. So welcome to this podcast with me, Jenny Raven, and I'm beyond thrilled and excited to have Saurora in the studio with me. I'm excited because this is probably going to be the spiciest podcast we've had yet, and I cannot wait to dive in. So Saurora, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good. I'm really, really excited to be here, and yeah, looking forward to the conversation.
Amazing. So I normally start these sessions with a series of fun, very naughty questions that are rapid fire. So I'm going to dive straight in. So straight off the bat, red or black?
Black.
PVC or rubber?
Oh, PVC.
Satin or lace?
Lace.
Lingerie or naked?
Oh, naked every time.
Real leather or fake leather?
Real leather.
Watch or be watched?
Both.
Behind the camera or in front of the camera?
In front of the camera.
Ideal height of heels for playtime?
Yeah, high, 6 inch, 7, 8, 9.
Giver or receiver?
Oh, God. Both.
Favourite naughty word?
The first word that just came to my head was cunt, so I'm just going to go with that.
Preferred erotic medium? Photos, video, or words?
Yeah, this is like changed recently, but I'm going to say words.
Amazing. Well, that's what my thing is as well. Although we're going to get obviously into that, then
yeah,
I fully agree with you. Boys or girls?
Both. Everyone.
Solo, twosome, threesome, or moresome?
Moresome.
Her with or without a strap-on?
Both.
Her with a strap-on or her with a real cock?
Real cock.
And what is your secret sensual weapon?
Yeah, at the minute I think it's my a physical weapon would be my shibari rope.
Right.
I really enjoy playing with that.
Okay. So you're based up in the north of England, but how would you describe yourself and what you do?
Oh, God, what a question. How would I describe myself? I think I would describe myself as always looking for the fun in things. I'm very, very spontaneous. I'm very rebellious. I like to question everything. I like to, if someone says you're supposed to be like that, I'm like, what's the opposite of that? Because that's where I'm going. And yeah, I just like to explore the spicy side and everything. Like, I totally believe we've been put on this earth to have a spicy time. Like, we have sexual energy running through us all of the time. So why not use it and play with it and enjoy it? And I really don't understand why we're ashamed of it. I mean, I obviously understand why we are ashamed of it, but like our mum and dad had sex and that's how we were created. So like, but yeah, and then I guess in my work, I'm very much about like helping myself and like my clients really go to the depths and the underworld and the nitty gritty of what's holding them back and be like, let's, instead of being scared of it, let's go straight for it. And I know like obviously, depending on what people are going through, you've really got to be careful that you're not going to like re-traumatize anyone or hurt anyone, but it's always fun to like push our edges and our boundaries and see what's on the other side of fear. So yeah, I just love being like a dark, mysterious, powerful woman, which I've only started to really come into probably like since I've been doing this work, probably in the last year, 2 years or so. But it's always been there. Like, I've always wanted to do this work. I've always wanted to be like a sexologist and sex worker and dominatrix. But yeah, it's only just happened in the last few years.
What an amazing journey. I can't wait to really dive into it. I'm going to read you back something that, because I had a look on your website earlier, and there's so much of what you just said that I want to really unpack. But this is what your website says. I'm actively fighting to remove the stigma that still permeates our culture around sexuality. My work is equal parts healing practice and social activism, helping you say goodbye to shame about your body, your fantasies and your desires, and hello to genuine freedom. I work with every type of person, every body, every identity, every lived experience, and I'm especially passionate about serving disabled people, creating spaces where accessibility is prioritized, and every body is honored. This work is about more than pleasure, it's about freedom. And then, I suppose the pithy corporate version from LinkedIn, you're a tantric healer and in erotic empowerment, a sexologist, a pro-dom, a sex worker specializing in disability and queer inclusive intimacy, and officially now my best friend on the planet. So if we could just distill all of that amazing description into the conversation that I'd really like to explore, it's really about erotic empowerment, sex work, and inclusivity in intimacy. And all of those areas are really things that I'm very passionate about. But something, I just want to circle back to something you just said in your kind of description of who you are and how you're kind of journeying into the underworld. And I mean, in my other work, my not Jenny Raven work, I work in the creative industries, and I feel very passionately that it's our job to kind of go into the emotional abyss, to rummage around down there, so that we can come back and we can share what we have found about ourselves with others, so that they can be inspired to learn from our journey. They don't necessarily have to go as deeply down into the abyss. They're quite welcome to do so. But it's having, I guess what I'm really saying is, like 10,000 years ago, you would have been a witch or a shaman or a dancer or a healer. And I think that would be the job I would be doing. We're working in very different areas, but I think we're actually performing the same kind of healing. I mean, yours is very much more touch, and mine is very much more words and podcasts at the moment. Who knows where it's going to lead? Like you, I'm on my own journey of what am I doing on this planet, and I should have some more fun. But anyway, so let's just talk about because you alluded to this earlier, your personal relationship with sexual pleasure and play and expression through sexuality, because it seems to me that, like myself and like so many others, we live a repressed life, and then there comes a point where you go, oh, fuck that. I'm gonna get that giant dildo out and I'm gonna have some fun, and everyone's invited. So tell us about your journey to that point.
Oh, God. Okay, so my journey actually started pretty young. I've been sexually active from when I was in like single figures, just touching my body and learning about my body. And like, we live in a society that makes us believe that you're sexually active from the age of like 18. That's when it starts. You just like switch on and you're sexually active. And that's not true at all. Like, you're sexually active from as soon as you're born. Obviously, it depends about who you're around and how much that is talked about and what have you. But for me, I had my first proper sexual experience when I was 14. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Like, this is amazing. Like, granted, I probably wish it was with someone else, but I was always been really curious about that world. And then as I grew up, I've always been into it. I've always questioned this sexual spicy feeling. And I don't mean that like sexual feeling as in like I need to have sex all the time. It was more like just things that turned me on. It could even be like smelling a flower. And I'm like, oh, that just feels really nice in my body. Like, we all think that when you're turned on, it means that you're going to start getting wet or what have you. And it's just like, what turned you on in your body? And then I've just always been interested in relationships. My mum was a single parent. I've never had my father around. So I've always been like, why? How does that? Where's my father? And she basically hated men. And I've always been like, I know that there is another way of living and I'm not going to follow her, basically. Again, very rebellious, which is also why I'm covered in tattoos, because as soon as she said to me like, don't get a tattoo, I would book one in straight away, so that I got loads and loads and loads of tattoos. And then I remember like it's finding it in my mum's sewing box, handcuffs, fluffy handcuffs in my mum's sewing box. I was like, what like, she never taught me about sex or anything. I figured everything out at school or through porn or, and just seeing these handcuffs just like turn something on. And I was like, this is fascinating. And then I just started exploring more, like, you know, I discovered Anne Summers. So I just started like researching on Anne Summers, and started like watching Babe Station at a very young age and being like, oh, actually, I think I'm into girls as well and guys, and just be really confused. Also way too scared to say anything to my mum because of like how she was brought up, and people used to think that she was a lesbian because she was on her own for so many years, and she was like, I'm not a fucking lesbian. Like, why would I want to be a lesbian? Like, a lot of hate towards that. So I never dared say anything. And then as I just got older and older, I was like, I just want to go into this world, but I was way too scared of saying anything. And then in 2019, I started my OnlyFans, and I had to do it, on the quiet. My partner didn't want me to do it, but at that time I had a shaved head, and there is a massive head shaving fetish community. I don't know if you've seen these people or... And so I started like shaving my head and then getting really sexy with it and really enjoying it. And there is a massive community. Again, it is shrouded in shame. And just really started enjoying doing it. But I had to keep it all on the quiet. And at that time, I was a hairdresser. So it worked really well. Like, I could go into the salon and do some like spicy content, head shaving. And the community absolutely fucking loved it. And I still love it now. Like, I've got my undercut and I will have a shaved head again one day. I just don't know when. But there was always that burning desire, which I think so many people can relate to. Like, I just had this burning desire of wanting to be a dominatrix or be a sex worker, but still too scared of what people would say because of society and everyone around us and our friends, family, and what have you. And then my mum actually passed away in 2022. She was an alcoholic, and it was horrible to see how she was living, basically. And she passed away. And at the time, I was with my partner, my ex, who was a tantra practitioner. And I was like, I just love what he's doing, and I want to do that. And then with my mum passing away, I was like, I do not want to see anyone else go down the route that she went down. And so she never had any sex toys. She didn't have a relationship for 27 years. I'm assuming she didn't have sex in all that time. She hated men. She was just a very lonely old woman, basically. And I was like, enough's enough. Like, number one, I am not stopping myself from doing what I want to do. And I want to do sexy things, spicy things. So I retrained to be a tantric sexologist. And I specifically said to myself, I want to help men. Because of the stories that my mum told me, I was like, there must be other women out there that like hate men so much. And I'm like, yes, there are horrible men out there. There's also horrible women out there, horrible everyone out there. And I want to help men understand that even though they're having all this hate directed to them, projected onto them, that you don't have to believe it. And I know that there are beautiful men out there, and I want to help them. Because at the time as well, there was obviously the massive movement about helping women and women's circles. And I was like, that is beautiful. And obviously those sessions and retreats and whatever are helping me, but where's the work for the men? And then, I retrained to be a tantric sexologist, and then I just trained in tantric massage. And then I didn't train to be a dominatrix. I think I've always had that in me. I've always been told that I'm bossy, and that I put people in their place. And then, it just kind of snowballed from there. And then I realized that sexology work, sexological body work, and sex work marry really well together. And I always say that even traditional sex workers that aren't trained therapists, they are healing their clients in one way or another, even if it's very, very subconscious or even unconscious. And then one of my friends, who is also a sex worker and healer, she was like, hoes are healers. Even traditional sex workers, hoes are healers. And I was like, I fucking love that. And then, I just continued with my work. And then I gave a session. I did a trauma release massage on a woman who is a psychosexual therapist, but was in a motorbike accident when she was 18. And she's completely switched off from the waist down. So she has no feeling in her pussy whatsoever. And so she taught herself how to have orgasms from her nipples. And so I gave her a trauma release massage to help her with with things that she was going through in regards to a massive scar on her back from the accident. And it was really like life-changing for her. And she was like, I need all my clients to go to you, basically. And she works with people with disabilities. So she was sending all her clients to me because I was the one that was like, I'm not scared of your disability. I'm not scared of you having a catheter. I'm not scared of you being connected to 20 ventilators. Like, just because you've got a disability does not mean that you shouldn't live a spicy lifestyle. You can be very kinky and juicy and want your dick sucked or want to go down on someone. Like, just because maybe some of your body parts aren't working doesn't mean that you're completely switched off. And so then I started working with more people who have disabilities. But I've just loved every second of it. I'm finally living the life that I've always wanted to live after years of being scared of what everybody else would say. I was just like, it was like when my mum died, the old me died. And I was like, I'm just not hiding anymore. I'm done. The worst thing that could ever happen to me has happened. My mum passed away. It was always just me and my mum. I have no other immediate family. Nothing could be worse than that. And I mean, I get trolled on social media, just so much shit thrown at me, which obviously does affect me in some areas of my body. But I'm like, the worst thing has happened to me. Nothing can be worse than that, apart from if anything happened to my partner. And I'm now living my juicy, spicy lifestyle. Me and my partner have just built a dungeon in our house. I've always wanted a fucking dungeon. So we've got like a spanking bench. We've got all of our tools. We've got fucking dildos everywhere, as ornaments. Yeah, and I'm just enjoying being my juicy self. I'm not ashamed to say that I love sex, sexual energy, the healing energy. And I love being able to help people change their lives because I've seen what other people's opinions and judgments can do, because my mum was so scared of everyone's opinions and judgments and she just drank herself to death. And so that's why I was like, enough's enough.
Yeah.
And if I can help one person not drink themselves to death or kill themselves, basically, then I'm doing good work.
Again, so much to unpack there. I work in the creative industry, as I said earlier, and one of the quotes that really struck me as a young person was, you can't make great art until your parents have died. And I think, there's an obvious parallel there that, we can't create without the fear of shame and guilt until, unless we do the work and we have the relationship that we would all love to have with a parent. And I think there is some truth there. And, I sit here in my chair with profound amounts of envy for the life that you're living, because I think if I'd been born 30 or 40 years earlier, if I'd been a very young person now, I would live a very, very, very different life. And I'm always struck by, I have some very close friends, most of them girls, who, I have a gaydar. Gaydar's not the right word. Maybe it's a sexstar. I don't know what it is, but they've got, I can sniff out the kink, and very quickly, we recognize that, we need an orgasm a day. Otherwise, like madness. And I speak to other people who are like, what do you mean an orgasm a day? Like, once a week is fine, or once a month is fine. I'm like, are you, like, I am built very, very differently. And like you, I became sexual. I mean, I was 5 years old when I became aware of sexual feelings.
Yep.
And I was immediately shamed. And that became repressed. And then, it carried on all in my head. And it was when I was, 11, when I had my first orgasm, playing with my willy because it felt so good. And that was like an oh my God moment. And I immediately wanted to be close to femininity, but knew that was not a possibility. And worse, it was wrong, wicked, evil, weird, freaky, all of those things. You'll go to hell. And that's where my cross-dressing began. And it was also combined with a trauma. I've been doing quite a lot of work. I put myself into therapy a couple of years ago to really unpack this and figure out why am I the way that I am, because I knew there was fundamentally nothing wrong but I wanted to understand it. And that has kind of taken me on a journey to help other people understand where they're at. And there is a lot of people like me who are over a certain age. And again, if they'd been born today, they would probably be trans or they'd be non-binary, and literally nobody would care. But because we were born in a particular age, it was, you're a pufter or a queer, a queer, not just queer, but you're the singular object. My mum, bless her, she thought there were at least 3 gay men in the whole country. She's completely unaware of, reality. And so for me personally, I've been a lifelong cross-dresser, and it's like a hair trigger doesn't even go close. But I've learnt to hide it, mask it, not even twitch an eyebrow. But inside my body, it's exploding, and that I suppose is where, like I said, I'm not envious. I grieve for the life I could have lived. I'm very happy with the life that I have.
Yeah.
But I recognize your freedom in your sexuality. And, I've seen your OnlyFans, and boy, you are completely free. And I celebrate that. And I'm in the front row cheering for you. And I wish I had that courage. And maybe I will one day. I am on that journey. And I'm supposed to be interviewing you.
It's all good. Oh my God, no, I'm loving hearing this.
Yeah, so
this is amazing.
There's I've done a number of surveys, which I think I sent you an email about, which interviewed cross-dressers. I mean, it's not exclusive, and there's all manner of people from all different spectrums of sexuality who answered it. But it was largely cross-dressers who were elder millennials, Gen Xers. And we have a very similar kind of pattern, which is, I had this kink or this feeling or this identity, and it was repressed, and I got a normal job, and, I've been married, and now I don't know how to tell my wife for 25 years that, at the bottom of the garden in the shed, I've discovered Temu and Shein, and I'm importing 6-inch heels from China. And I, I'm not really building a bench in the shed. I'm actually dressing up as Gloria and having a great time with my pink feather boa. I'm being silly and, facetious with all that. But it's kind of what's happening, and what's really sad about so many is, and I posted on Instagram about this yesterday, is how so many men are stuck being unable to express themselves, and the damage that is doing to them on a deep core level. Because, and I've spoken about this before, it's like, of all things, cross-dressing is an extraordinarily harmless kink. It's like, quite literally, like, you're not going to get bruises, you're not going to get hurt, you're not asking somebody to do something that may be triggering. I mean, maybe it is triggering, maybe I'm not really seeing the full picture there, but again, it's kind of, and when people engage with it, it's silly and it's fun, and it's funny. But for me personally, extraordinarily cathartic. And, I have been lucky enough to have women in my life who've played with it, not massively and not for long periods of time. And I have seen sex workers who have been, as you said, healers completely. Some extraordinary experiences that were extremely emotional. Just about acceptance and embracing, and it's been a wild ride, but most of it, like yourself, like it's, I didn't have an OnlyFans in 2019. I was thinking about making one. I'm trying to figure out how I could express myself on it. But my journey with Jenny Raven began during the pandemic, writing the stories, and then the podcast followed, and the website, and it's just really blossomed from there into this journey of self-discovery. Anyway, back to you. I've not got a question for you now.
No. Oh my God, no, I love that, and I love to hear that. It's it is just beautiful to hear. It's also sad to hear. And I know that there are, like, I have many clients who are men who come to me and they're like, I want to dress up, but I don't even know like how to, or I just want to try different outfits. And just one thing that you said to me is like, when men struggle to tell their wives, obviously, like, because I get clients coming to me because they're like, my wife would never understand. And I'm like, well, have you spoken to her? And I really understand that some people are like, no, I just really can't. Like, she might have made an off comment of like, oh, look at them all dressed up or what have you, or they look horrendous or what have you. But more often than not, this is just in my experience, in my opinion, most women actually love the fact, like when they're told that their partner wants to dress up. Like for me, so my partner dresses up, like my partner, like when I told them about this conversation that I was having, they were like, oh my God, like I want to be in on this conversation. And like, we love getting all dolled up together. And like, I've bought my partner lingerie because when they were younger, they would dress up in their mother's lingerie. And then would obviously like try and put it back. And then when mum went out, put it all on again. And I just think that for some women, it might be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, I want us to dress up together. I want us to, let's do makeup together. And I love it when me and Johnny like do our makeup together. We go on nail dates together. We wear like Johnny pretty much borrows most of my clothes, my skirts, my dresses. And we just have like so much fun with it. And so like, I know like the first conversation can be really hard, but there might be some women out there that are like, I'm so glad you've told me. This would be so much fun. I've always wanted a sister, or it doesn't even have to be like gendered. I've just always wanted someone who I can just go out with and we can get our nails done together and then go get a facial together. And it doesn't mean that you're a cross-dresser or that you're this or you're that. We're just enjoying our time together. And I also know how hard it is to have that conversation because of the shame and the triggers and the whatever's coming up. But that's why I kind of try and help with my clients. I say to them, like, I've got you. I've got you back. Like, I will be with you, like, through message or whatever, if you're going to speak to your partner, or even if it's your children or family members or friends or whoever, like, I'm literally on the other end of your phone, which is probably more than what some therapists do. But because I know what it's like to feel that shame. I know what it's like to, like, just spiral out of control and have, like, a trauma response and disassociate. So that's why I say to my clients, like, I'm with you on the phone. If you feel like you're going to spiral, like, just message me. Because I'm like, you get to live the life that you've always wanted to live. Like, why should you stop yourself? You are a beautiful human being. And if you want to wear makeup and dress up and wear skirts, it doesn't mean that you're anything. You're just having a bit of fun with yourself. It doesn't have to be that big.
I agree with that philosophy. And, you know, your partner is blessed by having you in his life. And I wish, you know, all women had the attitude that you do. I think the challenge, I mean, there's a number of hurdles that to be overcome. You know, you're quite right to point out that, you know, re-triggering of trauma. Certainly for me, you know, as a child, when my mum found out, there was a ceremonial burning of everything, and I was very clearly told that I would go to hell for this. And you know, that locked me away until I was maybe 17, 18, and then I was like, well, fuck that. But it can still get re-triggered.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, you know, again from the survey, and this won't be a surprise to you, particularly in America, well, I don't know what the comments on your socials are like, but whenever I get negative ones, it's usually overnight from American blokes with 3 followers and private accounts.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's a pattern there. And then the people who took the survey, so many of them are, you know, I live in Midwest America, and unfortunately I'm part of a church community, and my wife would, or has, because I shared or she found out, we're now divorced. And I think religion plays an unfortunately large role in dominating men's lives, which is weird because we kind of tend to hear it about the other way around, as though, you know, patriarchy is dominating women. But in this, maybe it is an expression of the patriarchy, actually. I've just not thought it through. And it's just really sad to listen to these people who, on the one side, are saying, oh my God, I could die if I could get hold of those pink PVC 6-inch heels, but if my wife found me, she might actually, she'll divorce me on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how to navigate that or help people. I mean, I'd like your take on it, because you have passed through the veil of, I don't give a fuck anymore. Screw the world. I'm going to live my life on my terms. What would you say to somebody who is in that more difficult situation where, they could be excommunicated from the family, from the church, from their marriage, or maybe they won't? I mean, that's the awfulness of it, is maybe it will be okay.
Exactly. Yeah. It's it's such a hard one. I guess it depends on like how much you're willing to lose, but also willing to gain. And I totally resonate, because it was the same as like when my mum was here and I could not tell her about OnlyFans like in a million years, but I was happy to have it as like on the quiet sort of thing, and exploring my head shaving fetish and being like, oh fuck, I like this a lot more than I thought I did. And then it kind of, I actually did a program on Channel 4, and I lived on a narrowboat at the time, and the woman, Sophie Morgan, she's got a disability, but it wasn't to do with the disability. Like, I wasn't working with people who were disabled at that point, but she was interested that because I was a hairdresser on my narrowboat, cruising the waterways, cutting hair, but also making money on OnlyFans with my head shaving fetish. So I was like, fuck, I'm going to be questioned about this. My mum is going to watch it. And then it came out on Channel 4 and she watched it. And I was like, oh my God, what's she going to say? What's she going to say? And she was like, oh yeah, it's just like, you're just sharing your videos about cutting hair, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, we'll just keep it at that. That is all you need to know. That is everything. That is it. And even my 91-year-old great aunt watched it. And I was just like, yeah, it's just videos of cutting hair that I put on a platform and people pay for it. That's all you need to know. And so I don't know if, obviously it depends who the family is, who the wife is, the children, like, is it worth losing your community? But then you'll just find a new community a new church, and granted, it might not be the stereotypical church, but it might be your queer church. It's your queer family. It's your whoever family. And so what do you want to stay, or is it because you want both? And this is what I ask my clients. Like, I mean, my partner has just lost their mother because of her views of my work, of the fact that now my partner is out and proud, and she couldn't handle it, and she's completely like tried to ruin our lives for the past year, and he's completely like cut her off. And Johnny was like, I need to live this life, the life that I've always wanted to live. And if that means cutting my mother off, that means cutting my mother off. And now Johnny is like much happier because his wardrobe is now like full of skirts and like lingerie. And like, you want to see Johnny's makeup like box. He's got more than I've got. And so, yeah, I think it obviously depends on so much. And I always say to my clients, do you want to get to like 80 years old and look back and go, I wish I'd have done things differently, but it might be a bit too late. And yes, it's going to be really hard. And yes, you will lose people. But like I say, are you actually losing people, or are you just moving? Are you moving towards more people who are aligned with you? And like with my job, when I stopped being a hairdresser and retrained to be a tantric sexologist, like I lost friends because they were like, I can't handle you being a sex worker. Like, I can't handle you having sex for money. But I just weren't aligned with them anymore. And now I've met a whole new group of people who we all do the same thing. We're all so supportive and we all love each other and we're all so free and just don't give a shit if that's what you're into. If you're into shaving heads, then fucking go for it. As long as you're not harming anyone. And so I do know how scary that transition is. But what's on the other side of fear? Beauty, magic, wonder. Obviously, it's scary going through that part, but you just never know. Like, your kids and your wife might actually be really supportive and just be like, yeah, that's fine. Like, gives me more options to when I have to buy Christmas presents. I can buy you more things now. And I also understand that there's always a community out there no matter what you're into. So if you feel like you're going to lose your church community, there's going to be another community that will welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, I'm, your partner, Johnny, I probably share, I've got, my girl wardrobe is bigger than my boy wardrobe.
Yes.
Which is crazy when you say it out loud.
That.
I'm so addicted to buying new clothes and shoes in particular.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's more an internet, like you just accidentally find yourself browsing on Amazon and, oh my God, I've just clicked that. One of the things, like, I think with partners, I've talked to a lot of people about how they can navigate this, because I think what you said, what you actually articulated beautifully, was the core reason why I put myself into therapy was because I had this horror, this gut deep horror that there was an unlived life inside me, and I was terrified of lying on my deathbed and going, yeah, but what if I'd lived that life? What if I'd just taken the plunge? And I was very lucky in so much as my partner, who I've been with for 25 years, we got a boy, and very early in our relationship, I kind of fessed up to her, and there was a 10-second pause, and then she smiled and then said, go on, then open Pandora's box. We played with it, and we played with it quite a bit, and then it got a bit boring, and life got in the way, and my box of pleasures kind of got tucked to the back of the wardrobe and not forgotten, but just not part of our everyday life, until it kind of came back, and then it felt weird to bring it back into the relationship at that point. So it became again this kind of like shadowy thing, probably again re-traumatizing the guilt and the shame from being 11 years old. And even yesterday, I was posting to my Instagram some Jenny Raven stuff, and I kind of, as she walked past me, I tilted the phone away so that she couldn't see, and she spotted it, and she said, are you just doing Jenny Raven? I was like, yeah. And she's like, you don't need to hide it from me. It's completely fine. And it's just fantastic. But going back 2 years, I didn't think that would be the outcome that I would have, which is why I put myself into therapy and was like, how can I square this circle? And we went through all the, she could leave, there could be a terrible blow up, how are we going to split up the house? What about the boy? All of that on my shoulders. And when it actually came out, maybe 4 months ago now, it was a 2-hour conversation which ended with, do whatever you want with whoever you want, just be safe. That's all I ask. Just, it's your body, it's your life. And I have been blessed in that department. And, just 10 minutes before this call, she was on the phone with me, and she's like, oh, enjoy your podcast. But then I reflect on that and think about all the other people who don't necessarily have that level of understanding. And my take, this is a fairly recent observation or thought, and it is that cross-dressing is kind of like sexual cosplay, or it can be. I understand for some people it's much more identity-based. But for me personally, it's like I put the clothes on and I fully become Jenny, and she's a total slut, and I love her. Yeah. Like I love her for being that part of me, and she's an exhibitionist, and she will take control, and she'll also be submissive as well. And it's just such an extraordinary, playful space. But understanding that that's my kink, my advice is always, when it comes to partners now, is like, you maybe don't have to put on the frock to go for Sunday dinner with the family. Like, can you begin with just the bedroom? And even in the bedroom with the lights off, if that helps her. And then maybe with a dim light. And again, my experience, having just gone through the revelation of like 4 months ago when my partner said, go on, then do whatever you want. Off to your sex parties, have fun, take photos, I'd like to see them. And very quickly I realised all of the things that I thought I wanted, I didn't really want. It's just I couldn't have them. So therefore they played on my psyche. There was definitely stuff I wanted and did and still do and adore doing. But the big kind of like headline things were not as important to me as I thought they were going to be. So from her perspective, all she had to do was say, go on, you can do anything. And it turns out I didn't really do very much.
Exactly.
Which I think is the message that I want, wives and girlfriends and partners to hear, which is at least a part, whether that's 1% or 90%, and I don't know, and it's different for everyone, but there is a part that is the obsession because they cannot have. But once they can have, then it will very rapidly lose some of its energy, maybe not all of it, and maybe not even a lot of it, but some of it. And that might diminish what the request actually really is. And I think, like I said, there is a difference between saying, is it all right if I go and see the mother-in-law in a frock? And let's turn the lights off and get dressed up and shag like rabbits.
Yes.
And who doesn't want to shag like rabbits anyway?
Exactly.
Anyway, again, I've just gone off on a whole tangent. I'm going to hand back to you.
No. I love it. And what, with you saying that, like, that when we do voice to our partners and say like, oh, this is coming up for me, this is what I'm interested in. As a human being, we all want to be seen and heard. So once we are just seen and heard and the other person is maybe asking questions or is open to it and obviously doesn't retaliate negatively, once that person feels seen and heard, they're like, oh, I don't really need to go and live that out. I just needed to be seen and heard to see what your response was. You're curious about it. You're fine about it. I don't feel the need to go absolutely fucking mental. Obviously, it would be nice, but what I needed more was just to know that you were there for me and that you see me and that you hear me and that this is a little interest of mine. And so that's enough. Like me and my partner have kind of learned that in regards to like having an open relationship. It was more about knowing that it can be there and it is on the table somewhere. But it doesn't mean that we have to be doing it 24/7 or, you know, like trying to find partners 24/7. Because obviously we live in a society that's very much like you have got to be in this box. And if you're not in this box, then you're a complete, absolute fucking weirdo. And so when people are like, oh, I just want to step outside of that box, I just want to be seen and heard that that's an opportunity, that there's a chance that maybe we can get dressed up together. And that this is just what's happened with my clients. They're just like, when they come to me, they just voice to me what they want to do. And I'm like, yeah, I see and I hear you. And they're like, oh, I just kind of just needed to get that off my chest. To someone that's going to be open to it, that isn't going to shame me or throw me out or whatever. And then they're like, oh, that's all I needed. Like, that's literally it. All we need to do is like see and hear each other. And like, you don't have to go to a therapist for that. Like, if we could have that with our friends and our families, or even someone that we're like sat with on the tube, if we can just like speak to someone on the tube and just like be seen and heard. And even if they do turn around and like, oh, well, that seems, for me, that's a bit weird. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, go for it. I think it's being able to hold that and be like, if you found that weird, that's on you. But I'm so like rooted in my truth and my power that I don't really give a shit. And if I want to put on some makeup today, that's another thing I was going to say as well. One thing I do say to my clients is like, try things on like a jacket. So like, maybe, because this is just what my partner did. Like Johnny started going out with just like eyeliner on. Like when Johnny was younger, they used to wear eyeliner and do the nails and stuff. But then as we got together, the eyeliner came back and then it got a bit more to like eyeshadow. And then Johnny was like, oh, I'm going to get a full face. So the foundation and the bronzer and then the lipstick and then everything just started. And I was like, all you've got to do, and this is what I say to my clients, just try it on like a jacket. And if you don't like it, you can take it off again. As long as you don't do anything permanent to your body. And then start maybe trying wearing some lingerie. Like, no one's going to know. Just get some nice, like I've just got Johnny a couple of months ago, some gorgeous, sexy male fangs, and now Johnny wears them because they just feel so much better. I don't understand why men are not trying out these outfits and lingerie options. They're so much more comfortable than like these big thick boxes. Johnny's just like, I just don't, like, men are missing out so much. Like, I get to wear a skirt and like my cock and balls just get to be flying everywhere. It just feels so much more comfortable.
It is a funny thing, isn't it? Because, you know, obviously you're a woman, and it always strikes me how sensually comfortable women's clothes are. Like, they look a particular way, but they feel an incredible way.
Exactly.
And so many men never have the experience of what it feels to wear those clothes.
Exactly. And I do feel for some people especially men, when I see them in like these tight, gripping clothes, and I'm like, oh God, like you could just literally just wear a beautiful dress, like a long, nice, flowy dress, and have the air drafting up you, and it just feels so much better. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean you're a cross-dresser. It doesn't mean that you're a woman. It just means that you're putting on a piece of clothing because it feels nice for your body. That's all it has to mean. But because of fucking society and media and the government and the patriarchy and religion, we've been made to believe that if you wear pants, you're a man, even though like women are now obviously now wear pants. And if you wear a dress, that means you're a woman, but you can't change them over. Like, but I'm obviously very grateful that in this day and age, like with drag queens and with RuPaul, I bloody love RuPaul, like how he is teaching people that it's okay to wear a dress, or it's okay to wear more flamboyant clothing, or there's some people that I follow on TikTok and they're wearing pants, but they're really like really wide leg pants. So they look like a skirt, but they're actually pants. And I was like, oh, that'd be a good like transition move for people that are struggling a bit. If they want to wear pants and a skirt, they could try that out and see how that feels. And so yeah, again, I mean, this is just what I speak to all my clients about, and then also start teaching them that you can have like an incredible prostate orgasm, and like so many men are missing out on having a prostate orgasm because they're too scared of like putting anything up their bum. And I'm like, oh my god, here's a list of toys that I have, like please go and use them. And I have had clients come back to me and be like, holy fucking shit, like I just thought toys were for women. And I'm like, you've been going like 60 years with just using your hand, and that's it. I'm like, please, there's a plethora of toys here, like please go and use them. And now they're like having like life-changing experiences, having full body orgasms, nipple orgasms, throat orgasms, everything.
Just for our American listeners, when we say pants, that is Northern England code for trousers.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things that just came up for me just now is going back to my partner and you know, when the moment where she smiled and said, go on, have fun. I think she recognized that who she was talking to was the 11-year-old, you know, with that specific trauma, and she was just liberating and freeing that 11-year-old. And I think one of the questions I always battle with is, had I not had that terrible traumatic experience at 11, and if it had just been embraced and it'd been like, go on then, put on some knickers and have yourself a quick wank, would I have got bored and developed a different way? I obviously don't know, and I'm not looking back with regret, but it is a fascinating question. And then, you know, one of the other things that's kind of evolved for me, and maybe this is more personality and genetics, and that you clearly got the same thing going on, which is exhibitionism. And I think, you know, that's something that, again, coming back to this whole notion of I want to be seen, I want to be, like really seen.
Yes.
Not just admired, but like I want to be completely revealed to you, and for you to, you don't necessarily have to clap and cheer, but for you to smile and not take your gaze away. And I just like to get your take on that, because you're clearly somebody who enjoys to be seen.
It's interesting that you said that, because so I went to university to do an acting degree, and so I've always wanted to be in front of a camera. I feel really comfortable in front of a camera. They don't scare me. I loved presentations at school. Like I loved getting up in front of everyone. Like people were like, fucking weird. Like I would much rather do a presentation than like an essay or something. And so, but when I was younger, my mum would always say to me, oh, you're so bossy, you're so loud, you're just like your father. Like my father's Greek. So it's like, oh, you're just like the Greeks. They're all loud and want to be center of attention. And so I battled with like my mum saying all these things to me, but knowing that this was my truth. Like I love being center of attention. I love being the leader. I love like gathering people together and being like, I will be the one that will talk. I will get us all through this. Like, don't worry, I've got you. It's kind of like community, isn't it? Like everyone has their own job, and I'm happy to be at the front, but I'm not going to be doing all like the business side. Do you know what I mean? Or having the negotiations. That's someone else's job who's really good at it. And then I obviously went to university to be an actress, and then I started learning more about tattoos and piercings and changing my hair color every week. And that doesn't, I mean, it probably does work a bit better now, but at the time, if you had a tattoo, you had to go and get a new headshot because something about you had changed. And you weren't allowed, again, this is the rebellious side of me, you weren't allowed to be your true self because they wanted to mold you to the character, which is totally understandable. But I was like, fuck that. I'm being exactly who the fuck I want to be. It was a constant battle because I had my mum being like, oh, she wanted me to be a teacher like her. She was like, oh, you should be a teacher. You should do this. You should do all this. Like, follow the system, follow her line of work, do exactly what she did, basically. And again, when someone tells me to do something, I do the complete opposite. So I'm like, I'm not going to follow your lifestyle. After university, I actually lost my confidence big style because I didn't want to do acting anymore. or I did, but I also wanted to have more freedom in how I do acting. And so and then I went back home to Burnley, which is my hometown, and worked in hospitality, which was amazing. And I loved it. I loved working behind a bar and being flirty with all the punters and getting all the tips and still having that sexy side of me. But I still was struggling with being confident because I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. I struggled with my weight. I went through a stage of anorexia. I wanted to be as thin as possible. I've always wanted to like have big, massive boobs, and I managed to have a boob job. I had my boob job this year, which I'm so fucking glad that I did. Like, it was the best thing I ever did. Fucking love my boobs. And so like, but for years, I didn't want to be center of attention. It was really weird. I felt like I completely lost myself, and I just believed everyone else's views and opinions that women should be seen and not heard, and you're too bossy, you take up too much space, you're too confident, you're too all these things, you need to be less because we can't handle you, basically. And then I decided, to become a hairdresser. And that's when I slowly started getting my confidence back, and I started being me. I was like a hardcore hippie. Like, I had the shaved head. I had like bright green hair, bright green eyebrows. I wore like the craziest clothes you've ever seen. And I slowly started being like, I'm not scared of standing out. And then it was literally when my mum died, it was just like a massive light switched on. And I was like, I'm just not hiding anymore. Like, there's nothing wrong with saying that you like to be center of attention. There's nothing wrong with saying that you like to be watched, because we need those people. There's nothing wrong with, like, there's actors and actresses, obviously, they love being center of attention. Otherwise, they won't be in front of a fucking camera. And it's okay for us to have the people behind the cameras because that's what they do. That's what is so good about them. But we've been told, especially as a woman, to be the good girl and to stay quiet and to not take up space. You're supposed to just be on the arm of a man, and they're the ones that are supposed to do all the talking and the charming and the this and the that. And I'm just like, not a fucking chance. So it's actually only started in like, since my mum died, that I just questioned everything. And I was just like, I'm going to be much more honest that, I like being center of attention. I love to be watched, especially when I go to the sex parties. As soon as I know someone's watching, I put on a fucking performance, and I'm like, right, I'm going to start squirting everywhere because I know I fucking can, and I just want them to watch. I want them to envy me. And I also love watching. So there's times where I've gone to sex parties and not played at all and just sat and just watched everyone and really enjoyed seeing people in love and having fun and having a giggle and falling asleep and banging their heads and I've just loved melting into the background. But it's definitely been a very, very long journey of getting rid of my mum. Same as you, I've just been in therapy for like I'm still in therapy. I think I'll be in therapy for the rest of my life to get rid of my mum's views and opinions, because she was so stuck in the fucking dark ages that I'm very much now like, there's nothing wrong with being bossy. And someone taught me that it's not being bossy, you're just assertive. You know what you want out of life. And like, as a woman, we're told like, oh, you get to learn to make the choices and to understand what you want out of life. But then it's like, but you can't want too much. You can only want certain things up into a line. And then if you're above that line, then you're too much. So you can only go that far. And I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm going. And if that means that I started talking about my head shaving fetish like a few years ago. But at first I was way too embarrassed about that. Not a fucking chance that I'd say that to anybody. And again, this is what I try and teach my clients and even my friends. I'm like, if the girl from Burnley who grew up with an alcoholic mother who never got out of Burnley, if I can like finally live the life that I want, that I've always wanted to live, and if that means unfortunately that my mum had to die to do that, then fair enough. And if I can pass that wisdom on to my clients or to anyone, even just people on social media, like I get messages of people that are like, oh my God, your TikTok just helped me like have a conversation with my partner about having a threesome. And now in a couple of months, we've just booked our first threesome. I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking amazing. Like, I love that for you. So if I'm trying now to use my, I guess, love and talent for wanting to be in front of a camera to help other people understand that it's okay to dress up, it's okay to wear makeup, it's okay to put some lingerie on. Because if I can work through all the shit and all of the projections, then you definitely can.
And I don't know whether you've noticed this, but something that's just struck me is, I'm sure your mum loved you very, very much. And in your way, she got what she wanted. You are a teacher.
Exactly. This is what exactly like the people said this to me when I first started like doing my sexology work. I was like, oh yeah, my mum always wanted me to be a teacher. And they were like, but you are teaching me. And I was like, oh yeah, I never even like twigged that's what I'm doing. But obviously she wanted me to be a high school teacher and work in a school. And I mean, if my mum came back now and saw what I was doing, I think she would be like, what the fuck? Like, you have got a dungeon in your house. Like, oh my God. Because like she would like come into my bedroom when I was younger and pretend to tidy up, find all my sex toys, and then like question me and be like, what the fuck are all these? And like, I remember one time I tried to be like, do you want to use them? Like, it might be nice for you to have an orgasm. And she just went absolutely fucking mental. And so, yeah, hopefully she would be proud of what I'm doing, but I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for her and her journey, which is what I am heavy in the grief still, and I miss her so much, but I'm slowly starting to realize that, like, my inner child is slowly starting to realize that everything that she did for me was so I could live my dream life.
Like you, my mum and dad both loved me enormously. They just didn't know how to address sexuality, and because I was outside of the heteronormative, man and woman have 3 children and buy a house. Because I wasn't that. They didn't know how to handle it. And my mum, just like your mum, she would barge in on me just under the pretense of like, I'm bringing some washing in, but really what she was doing was keeping an eye on me to make sure I wasn't doing anything naughty like playing with my willy or dressing up in those clothes that, she suspected I had tucked away somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was it was a catastrophic mishandling of that time of my life where I was finding my identity and I wanted my privacy, and she just didn't respect that. But I understand that she was coming from a place of wanting to protect me. When she sat me down, with her kind of like Bible wafting, she made the declaration that she wasn't going to have a sissy of a son. And even to this day, that the sissy scene is a real scene, obviously, in cross-dressing.
Yeah.
But that word still, it doesn't hold any kind of erotic content for me. It's a trigger.
Yeah.
And I run from the idea of it and the word, because it puts me back on that sofa, aged 11, with my mum standing over me, sending me to hell for enjoying who I am. And the paradox there is just, it's awful. But I know she was doing the best for me in the best way that she could. So hence I'm on the journey of trying to deprogram or tackle the adult let go of the child inside and be okay in a pink satin maid uniform. Not that I've been there yet, but I'm as my partner would say, don't knock it till you tried it.
Yes.
But I'm like you. My favorite color's black, and ideally sequins. But that's a whole other conversation. So, what do you think are the best things about the way that you live your life now?
Just going back to what you just said, though, I always say to people, people say like, oh yeah, I'll try anything once, and I always say I'll try anything twice. Because the first time you're obviously going to be nervous and scared, and then the second time, like, oh, actually, I quite enjoy this. And maybe even try it a third time just to see. So yeah, it's just what came to my head when you said that. Oh God, I think it's just how strong and secure I feel within myself now. Because before I felt very, very all over the place. I felt like I had to. It was a very Jekyll and Hyde relationship with my mum. Like, I wanted to be there, obviously, for her, but I couldn't spend like more than 3 days with her because she was really hard to be around. And again, same as you, my mum tried her best with the tools that she had, but then when I tried to speak to her about like, oh, why don't you want to therapy, it was like, there's nothing wrong with me. And I'm like, oh, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. But every time I tried to help her, it was just like a brick wall. I could probably get more out of the brick wall than I could out of her, basically. And so yeah, I think it's just how strong I feel in myself, the fact that I don't really give a shit if I lose friends anymore. Because I'm like, we clearly either weren't my friend in the first place, we're just not aligned, and that's absolutely fine. Like, we have relationships like romantic partners and we split up with them. It's okay to split up with your friends. I think people think that you've got to stay friends with your friends for years or whatever, and people fizzle out and just drift off and come back together. And I think, yeah, I really just don't give a shit anymore. because like I say, my mum isn't here, and the fact that my mum isn't here now is like I don't have anyone to answer to. I don't have her shame being projected onto me anymore. So I'm like, I am fucking free. But the real work is, for me, would be to be able to feel free even if she was here. And so I would love it if she could come back, because then I could implement that work and be like, this is who I am now. If you don't like it, that's absolutely fine. We can go on our separate journeys. If you do like it, or even if you don't understand it, like my auntie, her sister, lived in London, now lives out in Suffolk. And she was one of the people that I was like really shit scared about coming out to in regards to the work that I'm doing. And she's just said to me, she's like, I don't understand it. I never will. I'm of a generation that will just never get it. She said, but if it makes you happy and you're not hurting anyone and you're ultimately helping people, especially people with disabilities, she's just like, go for it. Who am I to question? Who am I to judge? I will love you, whatever. You're always welcome in my house. And I'm like, that is exactly what I needed to hear. Like, we don't all have to be on board with everything that everyone else is doing. But as long as we're being seen and heard and loved, if possible, that's all that matters. And so, yeah, I think it's just been like, and even if my auntie was like, I can't speak to you or I can't be around you because of the work that you do or because of the lifestyle that you live, I would be like, well, that's really sad. But I'm not hiding myself. I'm not shaping myself to fit into your box. I'm here to enjoy my own box. And I've got a beautiful family, like not by blood. Like I call my family like my relatives, and my family and my chosen family. That are my friends, that are my sisters, my brothers around me. And we have the best times. And it's really interesting that the kink community are the most open and loving community, because they know exactly what it's like to go through the shit and the shame and the stigma. And so when people are scared of voicing to their friends, family, church, whoever, the kink community will always like welcome you with open arms, because we've all been through the same thing. We know how fucking scary it is. And the amount of people that I've spoken to and they're like, oh yeah, I've cut all my family off because when I turned up in a skirt, they couldn't, like, they didn't know what to do with themselves, and they start screaming and shouting. And they've come to these like kink events, queer events, whatever you want to call them. And they're like, this is my family. And now I have got like so many beautiful friends, brothers, sisters, whoever. They're the people that I class as my family. The other people by blood are my relatives. And so, yeah, I think that's what I just love about my life now, that I love the fact that I just don't give a shit, because also with how it feels, like the more we stop ourselves from living our true, authentic life, the more the trauma blocks in our body. So we have like energy blocks, and then that leads to stress, then that leads to more illnesses or what have you. And so when I work with my clients and I'm like, let's work on that specific thing, they feel like something's unblocked, and they're like, oh, now my back pain stops. And I'm like, oh, I wonder why. It's because we worked on that. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. Kind of went.
One of the things that I've just become quite present to is in our conversation how many years ago, one of my very best friends who I did a podcast with, Lady C, we had lots of deep conversations around sex, sexual expression, cross-dressing, and her things, and her kinks are, very outside of my kinks. And, even I raised an eyebrow when she told me what she enjoyed. But one of the things that we would talk about is how when we were fully expressed with each other, we enjoyed this erotic energy, and it wasn't like we wanted to shag each other, but it was just about being inside of the conversation and inside of the space and free to express. And I've just noticed how, I'm feeling erotic energy now inside me, that it just, like, my whole body feels elevated. It's kind of like kinky adrenaline. I don't know whether that's the right way to describe it, but it's not like I've got a direct thing that I want to go and do, but I'm just feeling this kind of freedom and euphoria. It's like very pleasant to be alive on this rainy, dark afternoon that shouldn't be quite so pleasant because it's cold and it's dark and it's raining. And yet I'm infused with this energy that we talked about as erotic energy. And I'm wondering whether, you've managed to engineer yourself into a life where that is more present on a daily basis, and even by an hour by hour. And really that is a rather delicious space to live a life from.
Yeah, totally. And I fucking love that you just said that, because I felt it when you read out like the paragraphs from my website. I was like, fuck yeah, that feels so fucking good in my body. And then this is what I teach my clients, that like we can have this erotic energy, and it depends what you call it, it depends what sort of traditions or cultures you're into. People call it prana or chi, your life force energy. And that this is what gives us like courage and curiosity and helps our creative juices get flowing. And obviously the society that we live in very much tries to like dumb this down, or you try to ignore it, or forces you to ignore it. That this is what I try and teach my clients, that try and bring that back and harness it. And that can look like anything to you. Like I said before, it could look like when you smell a flower and you're just like, oh my God, that just smells absolutely incredible and looks beautiful. And you can get like erotic energy like fizzling inside of you. It can be like, I usually get it because at the minute I'm in Mexico, like I've been sunbathing on the rooftop naked, knowing that there's workmen around. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting a bit of like creative energy here. I just love the fact that it's like a bit taboo, a bit spicy, a bit like, oh, are they looking? Are they not? And I mean, I can't see. I've got my eyes closed. I'm sunbathing. And obviously I love being naked and feeling the sun on me. And so, yeah, just when I say to my clients, like, if you notice you've got some erotic energy, like, don't try and like dumb it down. Like, really feel it, enjoy it, like witness it, welcome it, talk to it. It doesn't mean that you've got to go and have a wank or anything. And erotic energy does not equal sex. It doesn't equal BDSM. It doesn't equal kink. It doesn't equal any of that. It's just your body telling you that you like something and that you're getting something out of it, and it's sparking you up and making you feel good about yourself. Like, why would you not want more of that?
I completely agree with that. It's almost like an intuition and a gut feeling. And
yes.
Why would you not listen to it?
Mm-hmm.
And if it makes you feel good, and sometimes it's the wrong energy in the wrong moment, and so you can't go there. But 99 times out of 100 is the right energy in the right moment, and why would you not lean into it? I think that's, from a cross-dresser's perspective, someone who's heterosexual male who enjoys dressing up in women's clothes. If you want to categorize it like that, like I said, there's a massive spectrum of a million variants on one end and another million on the other end, or infinite really. It's like that unlocks that erotic energy, and to live a life where that isn't fully explored and played with and enjoyed is a tyrannical life, really. And I guess that's the journey that I'm on, to find out for me what that means, and for what other people that might mean, and how we can live a more integrated life, so that I can have the wholeness of me, instead of 70% of me and then his other 30% standing in the shadows, quietly whispering, or in a closet scratching at the closet door with long red nails, and saying, "Let me out." Yeah. So anyway, yes. So I think before we close, a couple of questions. First of all, your OnlyFans experience, because I've wanted to get somebody who has an OnlyFans account, and we don't need to dive too deeply into this onto the podcast. But what was your experience? What are your tips? Like, how can you, if you were a cross-dresser and thinking, do you know what, I'm just asking for advice now for me. So if I'm going to start an OnlyFans, what should I do?
Well, at the minute, I mean, OnlyFans is absolutely saturated, and pretty much every Tom, Dick and Harry is doing OnlyFans, which is amazing. And I love the fact that we are all being more like open with our bodies and wanting to share more with our bodies. I think I would just say fucking go for it. Like I said before, try it on like a jacket, get an account, see how things feel, set your account up. I would definitely recommend looking on like YouTube and things and Reddit to learn more about the website and how it all runs. I wouldn't advise using it as like your main job sort of thing to try and get as much money as possible. But if you're wanting to use it to, just try and show off your experience more, then absolutely do it. Like, people will want to see it. And in my experience, my OnlyFans has helped me love my body even more. Like, I had massive issues in regards to my pussy. Like, I was going to go and get a designer vagina and get it all cut off, because apparently, like, when I was younger, it was too meaty, because obviously it didn't look like the perfect porn pussy. And me doing OnlyFans has really helped me to love my pussy And I'm so glad that I didn't go for the surgery. And it's helped me to find community, like the head shaving community. It's helped me to find like lifelong friends. And it's just helped me to love my body so much more. It's helped me to say yes to the fucking boob job that I wanted for 15 years. And yeah, and I've been able to like have juicy experiences with loads of juicy people. And so for me, it's been really healing and healthy, and it's really helped me learn more about myself and love myself more. So I would just say like, yes, set up an account, go slow with it, enjoy it. Like create like a ceremony around it, like put some candles on, put some sexy music on, maybe do it whilst you're dressed up, and enjoy setting yourself up a profile.
Okay, well, I'll take all that on board, and I'll share all your links at the end of the podcast as well, so that people can find you. So my final question then, what advice would you offer somebody who's at that tipping point or a crossroads of feeling like they're dissatisfied, that they're missing out, that something isn't working when it relates directly to kink or sexuality or sensual energy, you know, the big, broad kind of umbrella of everything that sits underneath that. And what should they do about it?
Again, I'm just gonna say like fucking go for it. Message me, like go. I will definitely help you. Most of my clients, I have taken them to events, or I've put them in contact with people. Reach out to people. If you can't reach out to like friends and family, reach out to some sort of therapist. Go to kink events, and I know that it can be scary going on your own. But like I said before, the kink community is so fucking welcoming and open, and they just like hold you, and they're just like, please come and talk to us. There's usually so like some events they will have like a WhatsApp group, and then usually in the WhatsApp group they have like, if you're a single or if you're a person going on your own, they'll put you in a group, and then loads of singles like meet each other, and then they get together and they all go together. All I can say is just reach out. Like I said before, try things on like a jacket, go slow. Definitely speak to a therapist. Like my therapist has helped me so much with helping me to understand who I am and enjoying my more queer lesbian side. Another thing that like when I told my mum, she was just like, oh, you're just fucking weird, aren't you? I was like, oh God, okay. Yeah, just to go for it. And like I said before, like we're trying a jacket on, if you go for it and you maybe go to a kink event and you're like, actually, this isn't for me, that's fine. You don't have to go. You can go to, like in Manchester, there's like queer poetry nights or queer socials. Do you know, it doesn't have to be an event, a queer brunch. And then you go to a fucking place that does bottomless brunch, and there's a drag queen that comes on, and you just all have like the best time ever. Search these places. There are more and more people now that are creating events because they know how important this is, that we need community. We need our chosen family to help us live the life that we've always wanted to live. Or message me and I will send you on your way and tell you where to go.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. I'm going to guess we'll stay in touch and no doubt
please.
Probably record another podcast at some point. So thank you so much. And I'll see you on the kinky purple carpet at some point, and we strut into an event like queens and queens.
I love that. Yeah, thank you so much. It's been amazing. I love talking about all of this. So yeah, it's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, girls, for listening to my podcast. I really appreciate you listening all the way through to the end. If you've enjoyed what you've heard, then please consider going over to my website at jennyraven.com and join my mailing list. Then you'll get information about all of my very, very naughty things that I send out on a regular basis. You'll also get access to a couple of my free stories. You can either read them, or better still, you can experience them as an audio journey where I will directly encourage you to dress up for me in your favourite costume and do very, very, very unspeakably naughty things. I can't wait for you to send me photos of that experience with me, so please do join up at jennyraven.com.